InTheCage.pl, and our guest today is Veronica Macedo. Hello, Veronica.
Hello.
It's very nice
Dzień
to see
dobry.
you. Dzień dobry. Wow, it's great. So, do you know any other Polish words?
Not the good ones.
Okay.
Most bad words. So,
Well, okay. It's obvious because you were training with guys, so
exactly.
I'm sure that they didn't learn you any good words. Okay, Veronica, it is very nice to see you. Since a couple of months, it was very quiet about you, and the Polish fans of yours want to know what is happening with you. Now we know that you are going to fight at UFC, but we will talk about this later. First, I would like to know. How are you? When are you training now? And where do you live now?
Okay, so I'm currently living in Belgium.
Whoa.
So yeah, so I'm training here a few different gyms and honestly everything's great. Like camp is great, the preparation, everything about it is fantastic.
At the Sherdog, I can see that your association is in MMA Factory. It's a French gym, I suppose.
Yes, it's in Paris. So, uh, you know, Europe is very small, so it's like it's very easy to travel from one place to another. And I mostly the reason why I move so much sometimes it's because I encounter like visa issues, which one country's easier than the other, and then I try to adapt to the situation, basically.
I understand. Since well, in 2016, you were living and training in Poland, in
Yes.
Poznan, in Anka's MMA. How do you remember this time?
Oh, for me it was great. It was a fantastic team. I still have contact with them. They're extremely nice people. I had the pleasure of living next to them and so heartwarming, so welcoming. I remember I was with Boris and Dana and I'd gotten sick, like extremely sick. I was in the hospital, bad stomach pains and Dana would like cook for me, do everything for me, and they even they gave me what was it? It was like cucumber water
Whoa!
that they said was from Poland. No, pickle water, and they said it would cure everything. So
Yes.
I had to drink that too. It
Well,
wasn't so nice, but
it's a great idea. Yeah, it's almost curing everything. In Poland, we do this. Yes. Okay, I have to ask you because people tell that Coach Andrzej Kościelski is a very tough guy and a hard coach. How do you remember him? What can you say to us about him?
he's a sweetheart. He's
You are
honestly
the first person who tells that.
no,
Really.
because he cares.
Mhm.
Sometimes like people would yell, people would get emotional and in training and be tough, but it's because they care. It's very easy for me to be a coach, go to a training and be like, yeah, whatever, yeah, do this, do that, be on my phone, not care. But he invests time, he invests like so much effort and that isn't really benefiting him money wise or anything else, does it out of pure love for the sport and for the people. So for me, he's a fantastic coach.
Uh,
He's super loving.
and why did you didn't decide to stay in Poland?
Poland, it was like I said, visa issues that I had.
Mhm.
So then I tried to fix them elsewhere, and then I got injured. Then I had to go to America. I was there for like 7 months,
Mhm.
in the UFC facility, which was state of the art, and they treated me. I don't even have words for what they did for me. It was fantastic. The facilities were amazing. The people were so loving, and they really. I was by myself in Las Vegas. No friends, no family, nothing, and they really made me feel at home and welcome. So I'm super appreciative for that.
Great. Since your first fight in UFC, we were supposed to see you again in London last year. You were supposed to
Yeah.
fight with Lana Landsberg, and
Yes.
then we got an information that you had an injury. What kind of
Yes.
injury was it, and how long were you treated this?
I tore my ACL.
Hmm.
So that took me about a year of rehab.
Yeah.
Yeah, after I had to wait 2 weeks for surgery during the whole time. So it was 2 weeks before the fight. So I had surgery the day I was supposed to fight. You can imagine how I felt when I
Yes.
woke up, like it just gave me a morphine stick and I just watching the fights and I was like just pressing the morphine stick. I was like
Oh God. Okay, it should be
just
not.
give me
It was horrible, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was mentally it was really tough. It was really tough to go through an ACL. At first, like when I initially broke it, I thought, yeah, I'm never gonna fight again. It's over. There's no way I can recover from this because all athletes, what they fear the most is knee injuries.
Hmm.
So, once I had just the luxury of finding a fantastic doctor, for me, one of the best in Europe, in the Netherlands, and he agreed to do the surgery 2 weeks after I called them, which is unheard of. You usually have to wait a month, and especially for a doctor like that, it's super impossible. But he did the surgery, and after that, I got called to go to Las Vegas because they had an athlete retreat, and I told them during my time, you're going to think I'm a mess, but during my time in America, I lived illegally for about 10 years. I suffered like just bad paperworking, which is it's really hard. Paperworking is the most difficult thing ever. A lawyer tells you one thing and then it's the next and then you're
Hmm.
illegal. That's it. So you make your choice on what to do and I left when I was 16 so I'd be able to return. So it'd been 6 years since I'd gone back to America and I messaged the UFC and I told them I'd love to go, but one, I'm in crutches, and two, I don't have a visa. They're like, no, it's in 2 months. And I was like, okay, in 2 months I won't be in crutches, but I still don't have a visa. So they told me like, no, we're gonna fix for you. So the country that I had residency at the time was Spain. So I had to go to Spain, fly with like crutches just so I could make the visa on time. I doubted I would be able to because I thought I'd have a ban for 10 years. So, crutches in the airport, you get like wheelchairs and stuff, and then like the guys just use you to like rampage through other
Oh
people.
my God.
Yeah. And then the flight inflamed my knee. It was horrible. So I ended up going and my dad was in Spain at the time and he was supposed to take care of me, but he doesn't know how to cook and I couldn't cook very well. And I had also had like another surgery. So I couldn't cook based on like the two surgeries I had. So I just like go downstairs and eat like two croissants a day. I
Oh
got
my
super
God.
skinny, super skinny. Missed two visa appointments
Oh my
because I
God.
forgot some papers. And then on the last one, they were like, okay, you gotta wait 3 weeks for this one. And I'm like, without therapy, right? Because I didn't
Mhm.
have therapy at the time. I was looking on YouTube how to do everything.
My
And
God.
yeah, it was a mess. So, of course, I'd get tired of the YouTube videos and just make things up in my head. So, like with towels and stuff, I was rehabilitating myself, super professional. I get, I go to the embassy and the guy's just like asked me two questions. He's like, okay, accepted. I was like,
Sorry. It's just like a movie, really. You've got only 22 years and your history is really like a movie. Oh my
yeah.
God. Okay, so
I
you've got a
looked
visa.
I had like a stack of papers that was gonna allow me to go in. He didn't even check one. I was like, "Are you sure? You don't want to check?"
Don't ask. Take it and run away.
Yeah. So I was like, "Oh, you know what? Cool,
Oh my
thank
God.
you." I left, and so I went to Vegas, to see like the facility. I wasn't
Yeah.
really too sure what the athlete retreat was for. I just saw it as so I was like, "Okay, I'll go do whatever you guys want." So it was to show us the new Performance Institute, which
Mhm.
is like any athlete's dream. It's
Yeah.
got underwater treadmills, you got no gravity treadmills, you got machines that like measure your velocity and
Mhm.
like the force you have, just all these things that you're just like, what? I don't know what that does, but that's scientific.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
like body scanners of like fat, like mass, everything. So I was there and they showed me the place, and of course I was in shock because I didn't know why I was there. So I booked my flight for a day after when I was supposed to leave. I told them
Mhm.
to book it a day after just because I didn't want to finish and then straight travel.
Yeah.
And I decided to make an appointment with a therapist, right? And I go there, and the therapist is like, I text them, they're like, oh, yeah, sure, come tomorrow at 12. So, okay. So I go there, and just like, it was at first, so the therapist, her name is Heather Linden. So
Mhm.
she's like that much shorter than me, but
She's
like
a small.
super skinny,
Okay.
super, super thin.
Atom weight.
So I
Okay.
looked at her and I was like, what are you supposed to do? No offense, but you're too small.
Hmm.
So she looks at me and goes, just sit down, sweetheart. Oh my God. I tried so hard like not to cry. I was like, "Mm."
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. But, fast forward, my knees, like I recently went and checked my knee, and the doctor was like, this is not only one of the best surgeries I've ever done, but this is the best therapy I've ever done. Like, the best therapy that's ever been done to you. Like, your bad knee is now better than your good knee. I'm good to go. So
Oh God.
that whole cycle is like what I've been going through since I just like disappeared.
Well, okay, so one question more. When did you start to training?
So I started training a month before I finished my therapy. So
Hmm.
ACL therapy is 9 months, and I started training at 8,
Okay.
which is when I started to like incorporate, the jiu-jitsu, the boxing, the wrestling, all that. And then I did a part of my camp in it was just part of my training in Paris, and then
Mhm.
now the rest of it here.
Okay, I understand. Well, your next opponent will be a debutant in the UFC. She was supposed to fight earlier, but there was some issues with her anti-doping policy,
Mhm.
and she had some issues with doping further. So the question for you: what do you think about doping? It's out of the team. And what do you think about fighters that use doping?
Um, it's a very like complicated thing because there's a lot of things in that are doping
Mm-hmm.
per se, which don't really help you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like Vic
Yeah.
that you have a cold, but then if you take it, you get banned.
Yeah.
So there's just some things that I just find ridiculous that that there should be no issue
Mm-hmm.
with, and there's others that athletes like purposely take them, and that's the reason there's USADA. But I'm very iffy just because I don't think the system is advanced enough to catch everybody
Mm-hmm.
on their doping. There's always a scientist trying to find new ways around it, and sure, you can get away with a lot, but sooner or later, let's say you do get caught,
Yep.
but you still fought like 10 other fights using
Mm-hmm.
doping. So I just think they either need to like find a better system for checking, or let's just let everybody use steroids
Yes.
and
Oh,
finish with
everybody or
steroids.
nobody. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I feel like I can't really take anything because I'm the type of stupid person that would get caught, you know?
It's not stupid. You just get bad luck, okay?
Yeah, wasn't that person that'll get caught taking a multivitamin, crossing up man, steroids and a multivitamin. I'm gonna be like, damn it.
A first fighter in the world. It would be,
Yeah,
well, you could be a history.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. Okay, Veronica, about Andrali, what can you say about your opponent? What can you say about her? What kind of fighter is she?
Well, I just think she's a very complete fighter. You know, she's good at striking in the clinch, has good wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Just is a very complete MMA fighter. So I think it's a great matchup.
hmm She's a bit more experienced than you are. She's fighting since 2014, and you were fighting only in pro MMA for 6 months, and then you got to UFC. When you look at this, do you think that it was a bit too early for you, or maybe it was a great time?
I think it was a great time. If to be honest, the only thing that I felt was it's not that it was too early. The fight that I had in Hamburg, it was like I said, I'm very unlucky. So 2 weeks before that fight, I was actually in a hospital.
hmm
I was in a hospital due to a horrible stomach condition, which was when Dana and Boris were taking care of me.
Okay,
And within the hospital is that I got called for the UFC, uh, on top of having a broken elbow.
oh my God.
Yeah, so I don't think like a lot of people I know have had like their opinions over that fight, over the weight and all this. When my opponent right now is gonna like, or my previous opponent right now is gonna fight at 125. So I don't
Yeah,
I don't understand this whole weight thing.
yeah, yeah.
I was not prepared for the fight. It's not like I had a giant camp like she did, and fast like if we go back, same fight, same amount of time without being injured, I will
hmm
without a doubt beat her. Without a
hmm
doubt. And I will prove this because I will beat her. I will fight her again and I will beat her.
It will be in
You know,
flyweight or in
I
bantamweight.
will be it whatever way she wants. She wants it at 70 kilo, 100. We can do whatever way she wants.
I remember this fight. I remember that the first round was yours. I scored it for you, and the second round they were starting some problems,
hmm
and for me it was a surprise because you took this fight in a replacement for Germaine Durandamy. I don't know, 2 weeks before before the
Yeah,
fight.
2 weeks
It
before.
was
Yeah.
something like this, and you really did fight for the 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So really, I was thinking that this will be a horrible fight for you, and I was thinking that it might be finished sooner than in a third round, because really you didn't have a whole training camp for this fight, and it's for me it's obvious that you could have some problems with this fight, and it wasn't really so bad. Really, it was three
Yeah.
rounds. You were fighting, you were dominating in the first round. So I don't know. I don't understand those people that said that it was too early for you, that you are not too experienced to go to UFC, or this fight was horrible.
Well,
Bullshit. Sorry.
if I mean, everybody will obviously have their opinions, but I really doubt that those people who say that have truly analyzed me as a fighter. You know,
Mhm.
obviously it's been a while since I fought, so there's been major improvements that I have not only like before the injury. I have invested so much in this
Mhm.
that it's like skyrocketed my improvements. And was it too soon? Like I said, I don't think it was too soon. I was very injured.
Yeah.
There's like no fighter really on earth who can be that injured and make a great performance.
Of course. Of
And
course.
I'm not using this as an excuse. I lost the
Mhm.
fight. I took it knowing that I had all these injuries, and
Mhm.
I took it anyway, and I lost. I understand. But that does not take away from skill. That does not take away from the heart that I have to be able to do that. It does not take away from anything. So why should any of these fighters that, not to like name anybody and everybody get like, offended, but there's a lot of fighters who can only throw a jab and a cross, have a mediocre takedown, and no jiu-jitsu, but they're in the UFC and they're great. So I just feel like it's offensive. It's a little bit like I try not to care, but I work so hard and I think I'm pretty complete myself and but everyone's, I'm not a golden coin and not everybody's gonna like me.
Yeah, in Poland we say that I am not. Oh, sorry, tomato soup. Have you eaten tomato soup in Poland? A
Yes, I
typical
have.
tomato soup. Yeah. So in Poland we say I'm not a tomato soup that everybody's going to like me.
Yeah,
Well, you're not a
exactly.
tomato soup, but very many fans in Poland really likes you. So, okay. So what's your priority now?
In what?
Well, in MMA, your
Um,
next fight or something bigger?
no, it's honestly not my next fight. Of course, I train for the fight, but I want to be beyond the UFC. I don't
Hmm.
want to just have a belt, right? There's many people who've had a belt and they're unremembered. Nobody. They're like, oh yeah, that person. But I want to do something that, like, I want to be the greatest female fighter in history, and for that means you got to work 3, 4 extra hours a day. You got to do what no one's willing to do, and that for me is my goal. Not it's not just this fight. This fight's it's just like a stepping stone to greater things to come.
Hmm. Coach Kościelski told about you that you are a workaholic, and he's very proud of you because you work so hard, and he thinks that you will reach everything what you want to reach. So, uh, very wise words, I think.
You thought I was
Okay.
a workaholic before. You should see me now that I'm pissed.
Oh my God, it could be worse, really?
Oh yeah, it's worse.
Okay, I need to see
It's
this.
worse.
I need to see this. Okay, Veronica, one more thing. I would like to ask you to say a couple of words to your Polish fans. I want to give it them to as a trailer of this interview. So if you could tell them something nice, it would be great.
Okay, well, there's there's a lot. It's Poland for me it's very deep in my heart. I was there earlier last year and just the energy, the people, the atmosphere. I truly, truly love Poland, and it's one of the countries where I don't speak any Polish, but I feel at home. I'm there, and people are so welcoming. They make me feel at home. The fans are truly devoted and just truly amazing people. So I'm just so grateful to have had the opportunity or like the luxury to be able to live and train in Poland, and I hope to go back again soon.
Oh, we hope to see you soon in Poland, of course. Okay, thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all the best in your next fight in UFC. We are going to clap our hands because I think that you are going to win.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
No problem.